it's 5:15. We are at the Merrill City Council Chamber Hall, and this is the regular Marketing and Communications meeting on Thursday, July 20th. Next item on the agenda is I'd like to introduce to everyone who does not know our new board member, Nathan Meyer. He has been appointed as the 3rd District Alderman and in place of Rick Blake, who has stepped aside for. And I just wanted to thank him for his service, for his dedication, and for his time. And I believe Scott asked if you could make a comment to that, so recognize Scott.
Yeah, another comment later. And this one, I just wanted to do the same thing. Rick took this position when the committee was newly formed, and his enthusiasm and belief in what we're doing was always strong. I mean, he wanted to talk on the radio, he'd be there, he'd answer, he'd be there. So just a thank you to Rick for that leadership.
All right, the next item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the last meeting from Thursday, May 18th.
I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes for May 18th meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Those all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I'm an aye also. Okay, general agenda items for discussion. The first item on here is the discussion of hiring a new marketing and communications specialist. I just want to, first of all, reassure the committee, reassure the community that the council is fully behind hiring another person for this position. The position is valuable enough that we don't want to let it slip or dissipate, so I believe that is what we're going to be going forward with. And to my understanding, Rod and Corey and the mayor are working on finalizing the job description with some input from Scott again. And that will be going presumably to the PNF meeting this next Tuesday. It's finalized.
Are you guys working on the first draft and just want to look at it, or how are you working on it?
Well, we're looking for some feedback from the committee also, because we were looking at more of a marketing consultant versus a communication specialist. Yes, it's important to get our message out. And we're looking at more of, I won't say go-between, we had talked as far as if we're going to be doing outside marketing, we're not up to speed on that, so we need someone that can look at what's happening when we do hire, say, Midwest Communications later on, and communicate with them. But we also need somebody that's not so much on the communication as far as interdepartmental stuff, and I think that's kind of where the previous position kind of not failed, but that was some of the friction. And I guess I'm looking for some feedback. Are we looking for communication, or are we looking for marketing?
You know, to narrow it down in a nutshell, if we wanted to try to consolidate what's needed, I would say A, on the marketing side, we need someone that can manage that ad agency. If it's Midwest or whoever, there's someone that can manage the agency, knows how to do it, understands what goes on with the reports and the benchmarks, and can contribute to providing insights to doing that. On the communications part, I think the PR aspect of it, you know, interacting with the local news stations, getting PR out there, getting on news wires is very important, because that helps with our SEO. And so when people are doing a search in central Wisconsin, or even they look up Merrill or whatever, all those things we're doing with all those organizations help rise our positive stories up. It gets us a higher Google rating. And she did a real good job at getting those things out there. So that's what I was gonna just kind of give to you guys in a short synopsis. So those are the two key things I see, is continue on with the PR and media relations as key, and then also managing and working with the marketing firm to make sure that things are on track and moving forward with that.
And I guess the next thing is, do we want a person that would be, I think the last one was 30 hours at $35 an hour. Do we want somebody that is more, let's say, on a retainer and as needed from certain projects? Or do we want a person that is committed to X number of hours at X dollars? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah.
I've got thoughts on it, yeah.
Go ahead. Go first.
So I work in a business where basically you get paid by the job sort of deal. So on a retainer for the most part, it's X amount of money for the certain job. It doesn't matter if you work 10 hours or 20 hours on that particular project, the job is the job. In my case, videos, and I talked with a few people within marketing actually, that basically kind of looked at me cross-eyed and said, really, that's how you dealt with the last, marketing person? And it's not that it was bad, it's just one of those where we're going at the end of the 30 hours, we didn't pay overtime or anything like that, or, say, hey, can you do 35 hours this week? And then some things would fall by the wayside until the next week. And I'm not okay with that if we have something that is pressing that needs to end up happening, especially PR-wise. So I would sit here and say that, yeah, I almost prefer someone on retainer almost instead, or someone that's base amount.
How do you distinguish though in this, what is considered a job? I mean, is managing the online ad month after month after month a job that you would pay for, bill for? Is, setting up regular, because some of this stuff is repetitious, so that would be one of the thoughts that I would.
Task driven, I mean, if that's one of the tasks. I just think it was too broad, the original job description we had. It was almost like it was a full-time employee for the city of Merrill. And to get away from that, I think it has to be broken down into tasks that we want that person to accomplish.
I think we need to make sure that we allow that person to be proactive and not reactive. And the problem sometimes with just saying, okay, we're going to wait until you tell me what to do, these things don't get done. I mean, we all have, day jobs. And so, oh God, I wish we would have told her to do that, or him, or whatever that person to do that. So there's got to be a certain amount of hours that are in there that that person has that flexibility to be aware of what's going on in the city, and come to the table and say, I want to get a press release out on this. I want to get Channel 7 to come to this event. I want to do this, and be proactive in that manner. So there's got to be some kind of flex hours in that kind of situation, or else what will happen is things will fall by the wayside, waiting on us or you to tell that person what to do. So I think your idea of maybe outlining what we expect them to do, and then maybe, as Nathan was saying, allocate number of hours max that we will allocate towards that. And then if you're going to go over that, there needs to be a red flag or something like that. Because this job could be full-time. So if we want to narrow it down, that's all my point is we got to be careful that we don't overmanage that person.
I think also, as it comes to being responsive, there are things that come up that, if you, like Nathan said, if you need to get it taken care of,
Just do it.
Addressed,
And that's where I'd almost sit here and say hourly is not the way to go for this particular job. Now granted, that allows this person then to also have other clientele besides just the city of Merrill, but as long as they understand, if we need something now, we almost needed it yesterday, basically.
And we ran into the discussion, Corey, chime in if you would, as far as what constitutes a consultant. You need more than 3 sources of income, and there's nine different check boxes that you have to be a consultant. You should want it to come back to be a a City of Merrill employee. And if that's the route that we're gonna go, then we have to have a different discussion.
I'm not going to go through the the 9 things, but yes, those are considerations we need to make. So if we're going to go down a different road, then if we're going to have an actual employee, we should start a new discussion here. Otherwise, if we have a contractor, we should try to keep it not wage driven, but paid by the task, paid by the job. They're typically, if they're a contractor, they typically have other customers. They provide their own tools, things like that.
So the retainer, I know we work with agencies that work on a retainer and basically we pay them and then they bill against that. So, $100,000. And they would bill against that, and then we would get a monthly or bi-weekly, depending on the relationship, report on where they are with hours against that retainer. And then as the retainer is depleted, we monitor that and either A, say, wait till we replenish it, or B, replenish it, or situations like that. So they basically get prepaid and work towards that and just provide us with very detailed hourly, because it's all hourly. From the agencies anyways, it's all hourly. They just say, we did this, or it might be expenses that they incurred that are included in that retainer, such as ad placements or whatever, but we get very detailed reports against that retainer. And then we just monitor it on a regular basis and either stop them at some point in time, which doesn't usually happen, or give them more money. So, the question would be, say, if we want to do it that way, then you find a person, and you don't give it all at once. You break it probably quarterly would probably be the easiest way to start and see how that goes. That'd be one way to do it.
Corey, how would you say with the 9 points, how many of those points are covered by what we've kind of been asking this position to do?
It's just the way we have it structured. I like what Scott just mentioned as a really creative way to approach that, because it's task-driven, it's work-driven, and that's really what you're doing with a contractor. It was just some things we discovered from future discussions as we bring a new person on board. We should really structure this that way if we're going to keep it a contractor. That's all. And I can get that information to you after the meeting if you like.
So as the city, we're responsible to make sure they're not an employee too, if that's the basis we want to hire them.
Yeah, we should really do our best to keep it a proper structure.
Well,
Go ahead.
I was going to say the thing with a city employee is then comes all the other things that go with a city employee, the benefits and all those things. And I don't know if we're at that point yet.
And the funding mechanism involved here is not so permanent per se.
Right.
Not necessarily so permanent. So we are kind of flying with what we have year by year,
Mm-hmm.
So note that a lot of contractors, most contractors that we work with, charge us for things like travel and other expenses that are incurred. Normal travel would be defined. But if we said, I want you to go and do this interview, I want you to show up here, or this is coming up here, we'd have to work that in a contract to understand that those are expenses that contractor's taking on that they'll most likely want to be reimbursed for.
If that's how the contract goes.
Correct. Yeah, these are things a lot of contractors ask for. We're not flying them anywhere, so we don't have to worry about that. We do that, and that gets expensive. But just be aware that there are expenses that contractors will generally ask for to be covered. And it's usually extraordinary travel, not normal travel. Normal travel might be coming to a meeting like this.
And I'm looking at both you and Sarah, and I'm getting the feeling that you're looking at like we're stepping backwards. We're not being forward thinking as far as communication and some other stuff. So.
That's not what I feel.
I know, I would just
It's got to be this one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand where you're at and find a solution or at least an idea that best fits it. Without, we did get used to, I'm going to take a moment here and I know that I'm not going to get into the whole situation and the separation, but I do think we should take a moment to recognize all the good things Chantel did. She really got social media off and running and turned it into a positive channel for our city. You know, she got a lot of PR and a lot of news coverage, positive news for our city. So there's a lot of positive things that personally I want to recognize her for that she did for the city. And those are things that we got to make sure that as we move forward with someone, we realize may not get done at a reduced hour, commitment of hours. So that's why I'm trying to tighten it down rather than say, we're going to get the same thing for less hours. We're not. So.
And like my thing is just making sure that this person is allowed the ability to know what's going on almost before anyone else in the public is knowing what's going on, so they can be reactive versus proactive versus reactive. Thank you. And not just trying to, fight fires all the time and just get
or
a
see
handle.
something else on somewhere else,
or
in
get
the
a
newspaper
different
and
point of
photo news
view
and go,
or
holy
something.
crap.
Exactly. And
I guess as department heads,
That's
we were used to
responsibility.
doing that before that position was created. We were taking care of news releases as well as she did at times, but we did take care of that. And, we had a discussion as department heads on some of those things as far as making more of an effort to get messages out.
And then if I say then too, I guess then you have to look at it too. Do you want this person to be the face, to do the interviews, to do that kind of thing? Or do you want this person to groom you as the department head to take the interviews and be that person then?
Facilitator.
Yeah,
Set 'em up.
because then it would work that way. You know what I mean?
And it all depends on the person.
Right, exactly. But if
Are
you
we
want
gonna
that person to be a face then they kind of have to know what's going on, because they could get stopped then by anyone who's seen them on the news and saying, you should know this.
That's not what we're looking for, is it? I mean,
I don't think
Right.
we're looking for a PIO.
Right. I just mean like that could happen, that like even as the chamber, why didn't you know that was going on? Well, if we're not made aware of it, we can't know, so that person, if they're put in that spotlight.
I will say, in my opinion, that should not be this person. They should be grooming our co-administrators, our mayor on that sort of deal, any of our department heads on how to take those interviews and even be present at those interviews to help guide them through it if that's the thing that needs to happen.
If it's sensitive, I mean, most interviews are, what's going on with the roads or what's,
Yeah.
What I wanted to get to that point is I think some of the communications that come from the departments can be handled by the departments. Okay. And so I think what we would need to do for this person's position is define what type of media relations we expect them to do. So like if we're doing a big, good example is the holiday months. Okay. That was one there that wasn't doing real well, whatever. So it's like, can you help us get more, people interested and understand what it is? She worked with Holly, they got the social media out, they got everything out, they got it in photo news. That was a coordinated effort to build that up. Other things, that person would do. So I would recommend once again, it sounds like we need to box this in a little tighter is what I'm hearing. And just understanding what your role is, what Corey's role is, the mayor's role is, and what this person's role is would help that person do the job the best.
I think we are missing out. That's kind of the time right now. Without our city administrator, that's some of their responsibility as far as building news stories, as far as development and these kind of things. Steve has been doing some of that, but he's part-time. And we both have
Part-time 40 hours?
Yeah, we both have different hats to wear, and we're missing out on that. But I think if we had that person in place, we wouldn't need quite as much from this person.
Yeah. As far as the agency management, based on what we're asking or what Midwest is, there's not a ton of agency management other than to make sure they stay focused, they stay on message, and that if they veer anywhere, that they get it approved. And So, that's, the one concern I have is we got to keep them, because they're very enthusiastic. I'll give them that. So that person just needs to know, I need to see my reports, I need to see what you're doing. If you're going anywhere off here, if the budget's anywhere off, I need red flags. I can't be after fact because it won't pay. So that's part of the agency management on opposite of the media and PR.
So so would this position be more like, I'm thinking marketing and media manager?
Mhm.
That's
Yep.
essentially what that position would be.
You gotta keep the word consultant in there versus,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
even
Consultant.
Merrill social media specialist. No, you're not Merrill social media, you're our social media consultant, just to keep that
Okay.
employee.
So what I'm hearing is that the general idea is that code administrators and we need to come up with a rough draft, bring it back to this committee before we send it to P&F. Is that a fair statement then?
We just wanted to get a feel of the communication side of stuff, what this group expectations are and what department head and the mayor.
I can't stress enough the importance of PR media relationships and getting us positive SEO for people that are searching the area.
Yeah, I think that is important. Anyone have any other? Mr. Mayor, any comments?
Probably Rod covered everything.
Okay, so you guys will work on coming up with a draft that we can review at the next meeting then?
You want me to just send you those key points I said?
Yeah, I have them down and we'll kind of go back and forth here the next couple of weeks if that's all right.
Yep.
All right. Any further discussion on that matter? All right, then we'll move along to discussion and consideration of the Midwest Marketing Online Advertising proposal. This proposal is from Cameo Elmwood. Cameo Rhodes. Scott has kind of already previewed this proposal, looked through it, and we've talked about it a bit. And as he had just stated, that they're very enthusiastic. I met with Cameo too. She's from Merrill. Her heart and soul's in Merrill too, so she's very excited to promote Merrill positively. So I guess what they are looking at is a $1,200 monthly investment with these various ads. She's shown some of the places that these ads show up that they put in, and the information as far as who they're targeting. Again, they're aiming at our target markets and 120,000 hits per month in these various markets. Will you say something, Scott?
Yeah, just a note on this. This is about as basic a program as you can run for a marketing effort. And that's what we ask them to do. We don't have a huge budget, so they did get around to giving us what we need. Realize that it's got limitations because of the way they're doing it, the way they're making the ads available versus placing. That's probably the biggest situation. With Facebook ads, you can do very specific targeting and do very specific things. They're taking advantage of opportunities of other sites and other things that we can show up on those at a low cost, which is fine. So what we need to really, the person that looks at this is going to really have to keep monitoring it and helping them and working with them. Their digital guy seems pretty confident in being able to continue to refine. But if this shows success, we're going to want to be able to say, maybe we're going to put a little bit more into this to do a little bit more. So that's just something I wanted to say, is this is about as basic as it gets from a digital marketing perspective. But that's what we asked for, and that's what they're doing.
And from her perspective, she's like, please don't do 3 months. That's not enough time to prove success. So the contract is a 1-year contract, and I think that would be reasonable. So does anyone have any thoughts on this? Additional comments?
an update within like 6 months to see kind of where we're at?
Actually, there'll be reports on a regular basis.
Yeah, she
Okay.
said we can get regular reports monthly, weekly, whatever suits us.
I think quarterly would be fine, but just to kind of see where we're at.
Does that state here any place? I guess that's what I was looking for, and I didn't say about the reports. That we would-
Well,
report recaps
she
right
she
there.
gave me these
It's
huge,
right in here.
whole bunch of stuff in here
Big
about
bullet.
her,
For reporting dashboard.
Yeah.
Monthly reports for the cats.
yeah, she has information about all of that.
Most of these dashboards are updated in real time anyway, so the marketing person that you hire
Okay.
also
I missed
will
the
have
update,
access
so I'll
to look
look
at
at
it
it.
and see what's going on at any time.
There was the ability to add geofence locations and some other stuff on there. Is that?
I'm assuming that's going to be at an additional expense. won't it?
Right.
Yeah, I
Geofence
would
is in
guess.
there.
Yeah, it
That would be,
says-
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if we see that this is working and we want to,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, who's the?
Now, the geofencing that she's using is, you know, there's a whole lot of different ways to do geofencing. There's the retail geofencing where you download something and then basically it puts a little pixel in your phone, and when you walk by, you get an ad that pops up that says stop in for 15% off. The geofencing that she's talking about was actually interesting, was they would put a recognition in our circle. And so that visitors that had visited or seen one of our ads would get a pixel. And then if they went through that circle, it would connect that, hey, they connected with us on somewhere out here. Now they're in town. Now we're going to send them a message about doing something. So it'd be interesting to see how that works.
Just another example, whenever I would click on my Pizza Hut app, I got an email from Domino's. Every time within 2 minutes, I would get an email from Domino's. No, when I lived over in Hudson, but I still have that app, and I was still subscribing to Domino's, but it would still, they creeped me out a little.
She did say, Renee, that they have the dashboard stuff, whatever detail.
I missed that page where it was page 2.
Well, what happened was is they had 3 different proposals, and they were pulling information from 3 different proposals. So we asked them to consolidate it into one page, so we could, and that's what this is what we will go by versus those proposals.
If you want to look at this, we will look at this. I didn't want to include this whole packet. So I guess the question is, if we feel this is worthy, that we want to go through with this, then I would entertain that someone make a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept Midwest Marketing's online advertising proposal.
I will second that motion.
Okay, the motion's been made and second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
You know, I know this is something new, and certainly we're not gonna know if they don't try.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm glad to see that it's gonna be given a year, and see hopefully some positive results.
Yeah, and the other thing she did say too was that we would be working directly with her and the gentleman that you referred to, because I said, are we going to, sign up and then just get passed off to somebody else? And she's like, no. So,
And that's a good thing to know.
yeah, so then, move forward.
I just saw too the other night, Lake County has an ad on TV.
What were they ever
Tourism.
Tourism?
Yeah. On Channel 9.
Okay. Got to keep up with the Joneses, right? Okay, item 3, discussion and consideration of a wedding planner ad for the Expo Center rentals. This came via Tammy and the Photo News. They apparently put up these wedding planner booklets twice a year. And they, I think her name is Jennifer Gartman, thought that this would be a good opportunity for us to do some exposure for the rental availability of the Expo Center. That, what's available down there for weddings or for other events.
Is Mr. Borkland, does he have any say in this?
I was about to say, I would think this would more come from Expo grounds. if
It's marketing, though.
And I get it's marketing, yeah.
Yeah.
I prefer it stay here for the marketing
Okay.
aspect of it.
Okay.
Yeah, because otherwise, then you come back and say, well, okay, now you guys come up with the ads, so.
No, that's fair.
I think Hallie and I had talked about this a little bit, and we thought that probably the best bang for the buck per se would be the 2 editions, not the gloss page. So it's $1,260 for 2, and that would be for this fall and for next spring. It would come out in December and January, or July, maybe December of this year and July of next year. We did it that way.
And the reason why we're looking at the full page is because the booklet is more of a square, but it's 8.5, what is it, 7 by 8 3/4. So it's not a full page, and we want to be able to showcase the Expo Center for what it is and have a picture in there. And if you have just a half page, it'd be kind of difficult to do.
So we're looking at the 2-page full edition at
The full page.
$1,260.
And we have the opportunity to change the ads, I believe, between the 2 editions, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
I'm not sure about that either, but they're willing to work with us, coming up with the appropriate ad without any additional charges for that or anything. But it just seemed like a decent opportunity to promote it for weddings, but also to promote it for other events that are, the rental stuff is available down there. We can add in features or whatever,
I'll make a motion to accept the ad wedding planner for the Expo Center.
And I will second that motion.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Where's the $1,200 marketing or out of Expo?
I would say it would come out of the marketing. I think that's where it would come from. I would see that as a reasonable.
Follow nice for that film.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna say, I would think it would, just knowing that fund like I do, but, because it's communications, is it not, so.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay. The next item up for discussion and consider promotion of community night out on Tuesday, August 1st. This is on here simply for a couple things. I reached out to Corey and to Chief Klug and Jana to see if there was anything they wanted any additional assistance with as far as media contacts. And Corey said they usually follow up with the media. Jana said that she thought they were all good on that. So as far as media contacts go, I think we're good. We could maybe see if Gus Kaler would like to promote it at the gazebo nights the week before, just to mention it there as a public service announcement. And what else do we talk about having?
I have it on social media, and then we were talking about getting a booth for the Marketing and Communications Committee or the City Hall in general. We would like to get surveys to put out there just to see if they're following us, if they're following YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, just to get a feel for what they're doing. And then I'd also like to see what they would like to see, any feedback from the community on the pages in general and what they think.
How much is it?
That's great.
It's free. And I don't see a reason why we wouldn't do that, because that it just makes sense in order to A, get our message out there, B, see what people are thinking right now.
We did have some surveys there last year. didn't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm thinking if we just did some type of little sign that even had like, follow us on Facebook and put that kind of information on a sign, so that's,
Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, everything.
yeah, all those things on it.
And I was even thinking of having like my iPad next to it and having the YouTube videos just on roll. just so they can see what the page is about.
That-
We might be able to
that-
find you a TV. We might even be able to find you
Maybe.
A TV and a computer that can, that's
So,
something that
yeah.
needs to be done.
So I'm like there representing a lot of different booths kind of, but the Dream Up team that I'm doing with the childcare, we're gonna have a survey out that is going to be a QR code, and then it's taking them to an 11-question survey about the childcare and parents' feelings on what's been happening in their lives essentially for childcare. So it's going to be a QR code, and it's going to be at a couple different booths there. And so that's kind of what they're doing with their survey.
Is that a free QR code or is that?
It'll be a free QR code.
They all look through the cameras.
Yeah.
So it's easy to make free QR codes. The trouble when it comes to QR codes is changing what it's linked to. That's when it starts to cost
Yes,
money.
Exactly, and that's
Yep.
what I was trying to tell
You
them.
and I know
was
that one for
like-
sure.
Let out.
I was trying to make that apparent. I'm like, I think I can do it, but
Yeah.
Okay.
Just don't ask to change.
Exactly.
To keep that same QR code, it's gonna cost you a lot.
Yeah. So, but that's what we're doing. And I'm using Chamber's constant contact, hopefully, as the survey grabber.
Okay.
The one thing when you do that though is you have to keep in mind that when you're doing those QR codes, those are for the individuals that have those digital tools. So you want to make sure you still have the manual paper form available as well.
Yeah, and side note, I'm also wanting to do this on Facebook on the page as well too, so.
Just the accessibility feature.
So Hallie, you want to reach out to Jana and just see if we can get space?
Yep.
Yeah. Squeeze in somewhere.
For the discussion of this, since you guys are planning to have a booth or whatever, have you ever talked about getting a tablecloth then? The city logo on it, that would look professional?
Can't say that we have.
I can't-
No, but
I
it's a
can't
really
say
good
it-
idea.
But I can't say it's a bad idea, because then you could take that to,
Anywhere.
to the fair, to,
Now that we have a logo that we're
yeah,
sticking with.
to anything.
Because that was our problem last year, like Chantal just sat at the Chamber's table, and we had our tablecloth, I believe, at that time. But it's just something, since we are a professional city government organization, I feel like it's not a nonprofit that can get by with maybe not having and spending that money like,
Well,
to
that's
look
expensive,
nice.
yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you might be able to turn it around in a week if, I don't know.
Up to Tammy Engel at Premier.
Okay.
Oh, I can contact her Monday.
She
don't work for
does,
us,
she
but I'll
does
contact
things
her
pretty
Monday.
quick.
Okay.
For Merrill.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea, thank you.
Okay, any other thoughts on community night out?
Did we want it for City of Merrill or did we want it just for marketing?
I would think
City of Merrill.
I would think in
Yeah.
general,
Okay.
because we're not just marketing ourselves, we're marketing the entire city anyway.
Just wanted to make sure. So,
So if Enrichment Center, Parks and Rec, anyone has flyers or anything that they want at that booth, I would say,
Go ahead.
yeah, absolutely, give us everything you got,
Okay.
basically.
They'll be there.
I kind of figured they would, but.
No, Clyde and you are going with the, to the state fair.
Yes.
I would imagine you have something.
Clyde and Sherry from the Tomahawk Chamber are both going down to the Milwaukee State
You
Fair.
have a banner.
And they have a booth. They're working with the county to have bags made, like canvas nice bags. And we're gonna have like underdown information there. The county is gonna have little QR code. But we'll also have the Riverbend Trail, well, technically the historic walk. We'll have some cards for that there. So, and obviously all the visitor guides, lots of visitor guides will be there.
The Chamber's also going to be at Lincoln County Fair.
Well, yes, we are. I don't think it's gonna be manned. I tried to tell Clyde that we needed to close the office and man, but
Get corn dogs.
I wasn't, they used to do that, you know. On Friday afternoons, all the businesses closed and went down to the fair, and they were all, when the grandstand was still there, that's what they all did. They all had their new washing machines down there, their new cars, and that's where everybody went down to check out the newest and fanciest stuff.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody closed, and that's what you did.
We're trying to bring more down there.
Okay, anything else on that subject? Okay, item number 5, discussion of street banners. I was told to put this on here just because I had heard a rumor, so. When I talked to Meyer and I was informed that Scott and Corey and Dot had kind of come to the point of saying we're going to put this on hold for now, but has that changed, or are
I
we?
had contacted Molly from Banner Company. I told her I would give her a report after this meeting.
Okay.
And kind of what we had talked about earlier was if companies wanted to do something this year, they would be able to make the push next spring. I think we just hit them up a year and a half ago. And we'll get to the point now where it's, by the time we would get them, it would probably be mid-September. So I think if we had a push, late February, early March, where they would be, so to speak, fresh for 1st of May or something like that to be hung.
Was it normally 2 years that the contracts were?
Yeah, and they're in the,
Huh?
2 or 3.
yeah, and they would like it every year, obviously, but I think that's a lot to ask of the businesses.
We have to do ours, I just love our anniversary.
I'll go on there and put a 6 on it.
There you go. Do a black magic mark.
How many-
Are you gonna be approaching the businesses by the end of the year?
Well, that's what this company does, it's not.
Right, well, that's what I mean, like,
Yeah.
are they gonna be approaching the businesses by the end of the
Yeah,
year?
but it would be, if you would like to this year, and otherwise we're gonna ask you again next spring.
I just, because it's, a lot of times the budget is getting done
That's
like
what I
right
was-
now.
that's what I was
So if
thinking.
you don't approach them now, and it is a good chunk of money, whatever, like, it probably has gone up in price, it's not gonna happen unless you talk to them when they can do their
Right.
budgeting, so.
No,
Especially for this-
I'll report to her, but not report to her, but tell her what we talked about, and if we come up with a consensus that we want to hold off until spring, but get the literature out now, and if the company does want them, they can get them. Let's see if that's possible with hers.
I think that would be good, and then those that don't respond immediately, send another reminder out, put something, have them put something on it and said, do now, or maybe send you a reminder in spring or something like that.
I would think that'd be good.
Was there any further comment on the banners that I didn't include because I was operating under
I don't think-
functions?
Well, since we had a meeting last month, I don't know if everybody saw the artwork or not, but I just basically passed it around. There's 4 of them.
Concept is there would be 4 different banners. And so when people go around, they would see 4 different seasons. They didn't see the same artwork on every one. They might see the activities and things that are going on in the fall, and winter, spring, and summer.
So would a company have to purchase all 4 or no? Or they get
It's kind of random.
Yeah.
kind of random what they get?
The idea was to use graphics rather than photos, so that we don't have to worry about so many things.
I don't know about hodgepodge kind of thing, sporadically, the ones mixed with the old paved.
I'm seeing 2 different kinds up there.
Yeah. And if we just get a clean slate, better and worse.
But you said our old ones aren't available, right?
We have some of them, but not your old ones, and then there's a couple of them that are in the corner down there, they're weathered and outdoors.
What if you had just said we were going to be taking them all down in the fall, and those who wanted to replace them now were put up, and those who wanted to
We
replace
leave
them?
them up all year.
Okay, yeah, I kind of understand what you're saying,
I don't-
Mark, about having the
Yeah.
old logo and the new logo out there, but, I mean,
And it's gonna be what it's gonna be, unfortunately, because it's at the cost of these companies.
But if some people see those out, they could have a fear of missing out on the new one and want to update right away.
And that's kind of,
I don't know that they're come up and change them just 10 or 100, 5 or whatever one company would have.
so this company actually changes them out also? The street department does it?
So, you can get me a cost for Church Mutual on putting the new ones up, but if people are worried about having one company having a different one than everyone else, let me know what it would cost just to put the old ones, to redo the old ones and put them.
Okay.
Would have Weinbrenner, do they have their anniversary ones up too? Because wasn't it Weinbrenner's anniversary too? I can't, I mean, I see them, but I don't see them anymore. I know they're there, but I don't know what they said.
Well, and are you gonna make people mad if they don't understand that they could have left their old one up? Because really, are they good, like, if they know that they could leave the old one up? And then they, you know what I mean, like, they could be mad, because it's like, well, I don't care if it's the old logo, I'm gonna leave my old one, you know, like,
I paid
it's the
for it.
same, right.
And that's what.
But I mean, if you're
But it
just
was
saying,
only
you
2
take
years
them all
ago.
down,
So,
you're taking them all down no matter what, yeah, that's, but still, at least it's,
I'm gonna make a recommendation based on what I'm hearing is that, hey, give me a cost on putting the old one up, getting it reprinted and put it up, and then that we roll this out as later as you were saying,
Okay.
not next week.
Okay.
That's my recommendation.
I would agree with that.
So is that a motion and a second?
sure, I'll make the
I can't make a
motion.
motion.
I know, but
I'll second
Mark
it.
Mark did and Nathan did, so.
Nathan, motion.
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
So we're just taking the 125 off.
Yep.
Yeah, that just makes it look too muchly. I don't.
You want to be a leader.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to redo Church Mutual sign now and to put the new ones out and up in the spring, but to contact businesses in the fall.
Correct.
Okay. Further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we can move on to monthly reports from social media consultant.
I will switch that up, all of my
So-
paperwork. I don't really have much to talk about. On the last page, packet 11, is our 6-month review. We had thought that it'd be a good idea to just show you where we've been the last 6 months since it came on. So our reach is up. The Facebook page visits is down, but the reach is up, so I feel like it still balances each other out. We do have 256 new likes as of June 30th, so that is an increase from the prior 6 months. Our most popular, 1 and 3 are historic ones, so tying into this, I was at the historic meeting last night, and we are going to collaborate, and I'm going to try to get more historic history out every month, just because it seems to be such high clicks that I think that it would be beneficial, and people always like to see history. So I'm going to work with them on that. Nathan and I are also going to be collaborating on getting photos and videos, hopefully of some homes and businesses downtown. And we're going to see what we can do with those to make Merrill stand out from a historic standpoint. Otherwise, that's all I have. We did start another YouTube channel, so we have a City of Merrill meetings channel, along with our original main City of Merrill YouTube channel. So the meeting one will be strictly meetings. We got a clip introducing Meyer and him talking about it that we have up now.
Not yet.
Not yet, but it will
Draco
be.
just put out a first draft today.
That's
for
right.
Review, so.
But it will be coming out, and we're hoping to do more Mayor communications and stuff on our Facebook channels, just to really bring that up. So we
It'll
have to
be
start
monthly,
there.
right, Nathan?
What's that?
We discussed that'll be monthly
Yeah,
The mayor's
Okay.
communication.
that'll be monthly, the Friday after,
Wednesday.
well, no, we're filming Wednesday, but it'll
Okay.
come out Friday
After.
after the the Friday of common councils.
Okay.
So basically the second or third Friday of the month, depending on how it all kind of falls. I will say, it's been great to work with Hallie on getting these YouTube channels in a much better spot. I know this body had talked about starting the City of Merrill Meetings channel months and months and months ago, and nothing ever came of it. So as soon as we were able to get it going, it's something that people are hitting up. I don't think at a very high rate right now, but I don't think very many people are aware of its existence even. So that's kind of.
Yep, and I will be doing that on post as soon as we get Mayor's videos up so they can see those when they welcome in.
I want to make a point here that the Facebook page visits is not a real concern going down. Because once people start following you, it's the post and the interaction and engagement there that's most important, so that's not good.
Once they like it, it's gonna be like that for all perpetuity. So it really just comes down to how many, visits you get. And
Right.
so far, it's looking really good. So.
It's growing, so that's a plus.
Yeah, it's growing. Then that's just it. We can only continue to grow. So.
Were there any other questions?
On the bottom of that one page you have, we currently do not have paid social media ads.
No.
Do we have a wide spectrum of where we could advertise and possibly the costs that are associated with it? So as we move forward, we may be able to say, well, we've done this, let's pick this one little area.
It's going to be Midwest Communications and what they can provide.
If we're paying for them, I don't see necessarily
Yeah.
a point in paying for Facebook ads. I can pay to boost a post if I want, and it tells me $14 to have potentially 200 more people see it.
But paying for a Facebook ad would be, like in the Minneapolis and Chicago suburban areas and areas that we're going to be targeting, those ads would appear in just those areas. And that's what we would get targeted from Midwest, but that costs more than the proposal that they have there, because you pay Facebook for that. So let's see if their other stuff works. If that's working, then we can invest in actually putting those ads in Facebook, out there, Instagram, explore the other ones too. Step 2.
All right. Any further discussion on the report?
Make a motion to place the reports on file.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? And motion's been made and seconded to place the reports on file. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And public comment.
On behalf of the visitor guide committee, we'll call it. So last year we did give the city 4 free pages in our visitor guide. This year we're not looking at giving you guys any free pages, but just that you guys would work together as departments, whether it's like the Merrill Enrichment Center, and for sure, like the airport, park and rec, for sure those 2. I can't think of the other one, if there was another one. Yes.
Library.
Library didn't have an ad in there.
In the visitors guide?
I don't think you had an ad. You just are featured as like a historical site. But I think it was just the Park and Rec and Airport for sure that had ads in there. The History Museum was in there, but I don't think there was an ad placed by the library. Because I mentally was like, that would be a great opportunity for the Enrichment Center and the library to feature the programs that they have going on that are a regular thing, or whatever, the library having children's programs, or the Enrichment Center having the availability to do weddings or, events that are going on, that kind of thing. And then because you are an ad placer, you get a spot on the map then too. And being that you guys are technically all chamber members through the city, you might get a discounted ad then price as well, but that's something that we can talk about further. But I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on, we won't have that huge spread of the city ads necessarily, but just that if we can get more communication to the different areas on having an ad specifically for them. Not yet. They're working on that. We just had like a good meeting again this last week, so Tim Schreiber has to kind of work on the pricing then after we get quotes on what it's going to cost to run it. We're going to definitely expand it more as much as we can, because again, it's cost and what's going to be effective for us, and some of it might even be, again, a QR code to going to something, effectively using that more, but we want to incorporate the map that has the boat landings or the walking trails or different things like that this time around. Maybe having a little like blog kind of thing, if we can get that fit in where it's like, where can you go fishing, and using those types of things. Those are common things we see in other visitor guides. So let's see what it's going to cost us, but we have big plans, and it just kind of comes down to who we can get for advertisers too.
Sarah, maybe if you can send some information for the next meeting, when you can include it in the packet, then talk about that then.
Yeah, sounds good. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up, and once I have the pricing, I can definitely. But the photo news sales agents do more of that ad sales. So.
Okay. Any further? Then our next meeting says it's scheduled for August 17th, which happens to be the week of the fair. Lori informed us, so she said we could do Thursday, August 10th, or Thursday, August 24th. Is there a preference to either of those days for anyone?
I guess I would prefer the 24th. That's me personally. Yeah, that's me personally.
That's fine.
Yeah, the week before is really busy too, so.
Exactly.
Okay, well, I'm good with the 24th if that works for everyone. Maybe we'll move it to the 24th of August then. Lori said she's going to a conference, not a concert. She's going to a conference, so she won't be here, but we will meet then, and
There's some meeting in town, that should be
that is it then. If I have a motion to adjourn, we can be out.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion's made seconded. We are adjourned. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.